name is Gloria Kim, and I manage the global index team at JPMorgan. I'm here with Joyce Chang, who is the global head of JPMorgan's corporate investment bank. And we're here to discuss our latest publication, JPMorgan Perspectives, which focus on ESG investing. This report was a collaborative effort across over 40 different analysts within research who have contributed to a variety of topics that cover ESG. ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance, has quickly become a mainstream part of the investment thought process. There's also a lot of buzzwords associated with ESG. For instance, sustainable investing, responsible investing. But one thing's for sure, and one thing that is consistent, is that there's huge intake in this practice. For example, there's $23 trillion managed against some form of ESG discipline. $108 billion is managed against ESG index funds. 40% of asset allocators actually use ESG in their investment decision-making process, which was only 20% 3 years ago. And in the ETF space, there are over 24 ETFs that have ESG-themed funds just in the US in less than 2 years. So, Joyce, let me turn it over to you. With all this ES proliferation, how is JPMorgan Research thinking about the ESG landscape overall?
Well, what we wanted to do was come up with a more systematic and quantitative approach to ESG investing. There's been a drumbeat on corporate responsibility, whether it is from shareholder activism, voter engagement, or from legislative action that's been taken in Europe in particular to focus more on corporately responsible investment, socially responsible investment. And so what we have are two new products out, one on the equity side and one on the fixed income side. We have a scoring system for companies on the equity side where they're assigned a score, and we've come up with data sets that are more comprehensive so that this can be done systematically. And the first ever emerging markets fixed income ESG index, which we partnered with BlackRock on in its conceptualization, which looks at ways in which you can make socially responsible investment decisions across 170 countries, 780 issuers without sacrificing return.
Thanks for that, Joyce. Yes, just expanding on what Joyce mentioned about the two products, the JPMorgan Index team has just launched the first emerging market ESG benchmark that actually is based on the existing flagship benchmarks like the MB, GBIM, and the SEMB. So there's familiarity, and the ESG discipline is incorporated in that with a simple country tilt, looking at the ESG-ness of those countries and issuers in the index. And the second one that Joyce mentioned is from our quantitative equity strategy team, Khurram Chaudhary, who created this ESGQ score, which is a proprietary stock selection metric that facilitates equity investors to invest more responsibly. So Joyce, with all these ESG movements, how do you think this is impacting the investor community?
Well, I think the focus on ESG investment had originally been on the environmental side, and it was focused on negative screening. What we do see is that there's going to be more of a movement on social and governance indicators, particularly looking at some of the gender equity issues. So we have several chapters that really do look at the indicators and the quality of the data that's available right now on these factors. And one of the problems and challenges to corporately responsible investment has been the lack of high-frequency and reliable data. So the research team really spent a lot of time and care to see how you could actually put this into a place in a systematic way so that it would be scalable and something that could be sustained. So it's not just a one-off, impact investment. It's something that an investor can really incorporate into their into their strategy in a way that they can implement it with passive approaches. But I think the focus on social and governance issues will be the next wave of ESG investing.
Great, great. Thank you for that. And there's a lot of things that we've already discussed today, and the report is very comprehensive. So Joyce, if you had to point key messages that the viewers can take with them, what would they be?
Well, first of all, that you can do corporate responsible and socially responsible investment without sacrificing your profitability, so that you're not necessarily sacrificing profitability. You can put this in place in a quantitative and systematic way. And you can also reduce volatility and reduce drawdowns by applying some of these tactics. We also think that the benefits will be that the shareholders, the voter engagement, the disclosure requirements that are coming into place will be much easier to be met as these instruments are adopted.
Thank you, Joyce, for that. I think this has been very, very insightful, and I believe that the viewers will find it very interesting. We invite all of you to read our JPMorgan Perspectives piece entitled ESG Investing Goes Mainstream. And if you need more information, please visit jpmorgan.com. Thank you for tuning in.